Hello beautiful people and welcome to this episode of Two Girls One Doc. It's your girl BD and today we're doing a rerun. Life has been lifing, so we didn't get a chance to record this week, and I just hate leaving you guys without an episode, especially when you're expecting one. So we are going to do a rerun of a documentary that we covered a while back called The Imposter. Last week's episode on Sweet Bobby has really gone down a treat. Like, you guys really seem to enjoy it. We're just going from one scam to another scam. This one you can decide which is more egregious between the two of them, but yeah, enjoy the episode. So yeah, as we've confirmed, we are doing The Imposter today. This documentary is quite old, but it's a story that's
a tale as old as time,
but as rare as...
But do you know where that song's from?
No.
Because with you...
Is it a Disney thing?
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. I watched
something
that one.
Like I cried.
What, Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah. That song...
I don't remember. It was ages ago that
I
watched
but
it.
like I watched...
The story is beautiful though.
Yeah, I watched the live whatever version.
Why do they keep doing these live things?
I don't know, but... This was not too long ago. I think it was like 2 years ago, and I was bawling. I don't know what is wrong with me. I cry over everything. I was watching Titanic, and I've watched it many a times before. This was this weekend just gone, and I was in tears. Like, not just the little tears, it was the kind of tears. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so a bitch be crying.
Well, thank you for that wonderful insight into your mind. So we're doing The Imposter today. All right, it's an old documentary, but it's on Netflix, so you can watch it there. I mean, I'm sure most of you listening to this probably have of this story. Like, this is not your first rodeo, but we're gonna get into it. Had you heard of this story before?
Yeah, many times, but I was just wondering why they would have, because we've never spoken about it.
But because they like documentaries, which is why they're here. So they probably have seen this documentary.
Because I've heard this story two different ways. As in, I've heard it investigating the missing child. Mm-hmm. And I've heard it investigating the imposter. So yeah. Yes, I was very excited to cover this documentary.
Yeah, I think I watched it before because it was very familiar. Anyway, the doc opens up with on-screen text that says, in 1994, Nicholas Barkley disappeared from San Antonio, Texas. And despite Nicholas being a little white boy, his disappearance never makes the news, which is both quite shocking and also quite sad.
But I get it by the end.
Yes, but we're not there yet. No, so it's still quite shocking and quite sad at this point.
But not even that. I more get it because of the kind of family he comes from. Because it's a particular kind of white.
True. Yeah. The class has to be right as well as the color of the skin.
Class wasn't right. The hue. They got it on
one
the
out
hue.
Of two. 1 out of 2. You got 50-50 chance.
Yeah. That class is middle class and above. So.
Yeah. Sorry. So his sister Carrie has... she's kind of just accepted that they're not likely to find him alive. She just wants to know what happened. So in her mind, it's like, look, I just want to know what happened to my brother. If he's dead, he's dead. But at least let's have that closure that we know what's going on, right? So it's 3 years and 4 months after the disappearance, and we are in Spain. We hear a police call from a man saying that they found a child. And they let his family know, but everyone's kind of confused, but they're also excited, but they're also worried. Now his sister Carrie, who lives in Texas, is like,
Spain? Isn't that like across the country? How did he get there? You have like 100,000 questions that you want answered immediately.
And it's like, babes, it's not across the country. Like, it's a completely different country in a completely different continent.
Yeah, but America.
Yeah, but it's like still, like, I know that there's a level of ignorance and stuff, but still to see it, it's like, you don't know that Spain is a different country.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, overall, they're excited, right?
These are the people that say London, Paris. Like, let's be for fucking real.
Yeah. So now it goes from 0 to 100, and we meet this guy called Frederick, and he says he's always wanted to be someone else, and that allowed him to be convincing. He basically admits right off the bat, like, we're not even 5 minutes in yet, this guy is saying, yeah, it was me, I was pretending to be Nicholas Barkley, right? So this documentary, Yeah, I did that shit, and I'll do it. Not only will I do it again, but I did do it again. Yeah. So in the documentary, he basically is telling us like how he does it. That's what the documentary is not about. what like who is the guy who's the imposter. It's like, I'm the imposter, here's how I did it, right? Which is kind of annoying because like it centers him rather than like the missing child, who, anyway, we'll get there. So he dresses like a child, yeah, even though he's 23. He doesn't speak, he acts scared and traumatized, and eventually like he gets put into a children's home. So when he's discovered, quote unquote discovered, as Nicholas, right, he's telling us, and he's so sure that he looks like a child. He's like, yeah, I used to wear like children's clothes, and I'd wear a hat really low, and like all this kind of stuff. And I'm like looking at him like, is it me? Like,
nah, but he got away with it. I mean,
he got away with it, but he doesn't look, because what's his name? Anyway, I'm jumping ahead of myself.
It's white people looks though, because even like with Gwyneth Paltrow, I don't know if I was talking to you about this bone broth gate thing that happened. I think it was my sister. But yeah, like I gasped when I saw that video.
What video?
The video of her. Have you not seen the bone broth thing?
Mm-mm.
It's her talking about what she eats, and she's like, yeah, I intermittent fast till 12 when I have my first cup of coffee so my blood sugar doesn't spike. Then for lunch I'll have a soup, like a bone broth, and bone broth is literally just like the juices of a bone, right? It's like getting your turkey bone, like boiling it in the juice basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then she has that, and then
and
like,
they make stock.
okay, and then she has vegetables for like dinner. And I gasped when I saw her, because I was like, bro, like all this wellness you're talking about, you do not look well. Like my sister and I had to Google her age, and she is a lot younger than my dad, but she looks like she's much old. She looks like his senior could be his senior sister. So
yeah, I mean, I understand that, but like, it's not like we're talking about adults here. We're talking about a child.
But even at that, they from that age, they age.
I don't know. I'm not buying it, man. I hear what you're saying.
Does Kylie Jenner look 20? What is she, 5?
Yeah, that's fine, but not in this situation. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. Okay. And everyone involved is stupid, yeah. So we're back in Texas, yeah. So basically, we've done a bit of Frederick saying, "Oh, hey, it was me," you know, whatever. So we're back in Texas, and we learn about the day that Nicholas actually went missing. So he was out, and he calls his house, because back then it was like house phones. So yeah, there was no mobile phones. He calls his house so that he can get a ride home. His mum is sleeping, and his brother doesn't want to wake her up, so he tells him to walk home. And then like he never makes it home. You're rolling your eyes.
I mean, it will become clear later on why, but
right. So we're back with Frederick now,
and the story's just funny because Jason is of driving age. You go.
I was like, so was Jason the brother then, or was it a different brother?
That's what I was thinking.
I was so confused because I imagined it was like a younger brother.
Okay,
but he was
Jason
the youngest,
is much older. This Nicholas is the youngest.
He's the youngest, yeah. It was so weird. And I was like, also like, who, I don't know. It's like, and if you're old enough, like if you're the authority on, oh, I don't want to wake mum up, wouldn't you then just come get me?
Yeah.
Because Nicholas at this age, he's about 13, 14.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess you could say like, oh yeah, find your own way home. I get it, but like, I don't know. It's just weird because it's like, why wouldn't you just, I don't know. It's just all a bit like something in the milk ain't clean. So we're back with Frederick now, and he seems annoyed at the fact that the Spanish police wanted to know who he was.
If you don't tell us, if you can't prove us who you are, I'm gonna have you fingerprinted and your pictures taken. I couldn't allow that to happen. I had to find a way out of that. So the only thing left there was 1, go to prison, 2, prove to them that I'm someone.
So like, obviously they want to know who you are. You're an abandoned child, quote unquote child, yeah? Like, who are you, right? So his options are go to prison or prove who he is. So he comes up with this story that he ran away from America, and he wants to contact his family, but they shouldn't be in the room. Like, they should just give him the phone so that he can do it, right?
Everyone is stupid. Everyone is dumb.
Thank you. So he calls a bunch of police officers in America posing as a policeman, and he says his name is Jonathan Dorian, yeah? And he's a policeman saying, hey, I found a missing child claiming to be from America. So he's trying to figure out who he can pretend to be, like which missing child in America can I pretend to be. So he basically gives a description of himself, and then sees which of these missing children makes sense for me to say that I am. Okay, there is no Instagram, there is no whatever. They fax a picture of him, and this fax is in black and white. Remember that, okay? So because Nicholas, the real Nicholas, has been missing for 3 to 4 years, Frederick is like, oh, this is good. He's been missing for a longer period of time. He's like early teenager, now he'd be a late teenager. There'd be a lot of puberty. He would have changed the way he looked. So then he's more likely to be believed, which, fine, okay? But yeah, Frederick is like really manipulative and he's very scary. He says that he realizes at this point that he's crossed the line because he's no longer pretending to have another identity, which he says he's always done, as if that's normal, but that's fine. We'll park that for now. Now he's saying, oh, he's actually stolen someone else's identity, which is crazy. Now, remember the facts he got was in black and white. Somehow he gets a color picture and he sees that actually Nicholas has blonde hair and blue eyes. Frederick, on the other hand, has black hair and brown eyes.
This whole documentary, what I really took away from it, guys, is if you go on LinkedIn, yeah, and you see a job that you look
you think you're underqualified for,
yeah, just apply. Because people are working in the FBI. Like, FBI is the highest, as much as I know, like, it's the highest of high, right? With these, whatever, people working in the FBI, people working it, dealing with serious issues, and they're this stupid. So
and this is what happens.
I don't even see this guy as a con man. I just see him as taking opportunities that were presented in front of him.
I feel like he just, it's almost as if like, it was like, oh, it's like every time you think that there would be like a barrier, he's able to cross it. Yeah. So he just keeps walking.
It's almost like destiny another barrier, at this point.
He crosses it, then he just keeps walking.
Yeah.
And you think that 10 barriers ago someone would have stopped him, but no. So like obviously he's going to keep walking.
Literally, it's like when they say what's meant for you will not pass you by.
Will never pass you by.
It didn't pass him by. Like, he just took an opportunity that was there. I'm not lying, I'm not mad at him, but
I mean, he took an opportunity, but he's also very manipulative. It's not as if he's just like I just stumbled across. Like, he's very calculated.
Yeah, of course.
And also very creepy, man. I think even the way they like lit the documentary, like his scenes, it was just so like, I was like, eerie. And then these reenactments that they were doing, I was like, okay, I hear it, but the documentary would have been half an hour shorter if we didn't have those.
Yeah, it's giving Swarm. Have you watched Swarm yet?
Have I watched Swarm? Yeah, I have, but I'm not. I'm on the last episode.
Okay, I'm not. I'm just on the I'm sorry, but Donald Glover is a fucking genius. Okay, no.
So genius. Sorry. So can you expound?
No, because for him, you know, he produced this, made this, right? For him to think of like all of this, like, he's really, I think he's a genius. Like, he gives me, I think Jordan Peele's a genius. I think he's a genius. Yeah, but I think
they're also a little bit fucked because, like, why is this in your mind?
I mean, I get it.
Also, I don't understand because at the beginning they're like, oh, this is not a work of fiction.
Basically.
So I get that they're trying to say this is Beyonce. I hear it, yeah.
No, it's more than that. So basically, when Beyonce released Lemonade, there was this, like, hoax article that went round saying that, like, this girl called Marissa Jackson killed herself to Lemonade when she heard it. Like, because her own boyfriend had cheated on her, right?
Right, okay.
So there was that element to it.
Okay.
So he was like, okay, cool. He parked that. Then he saw a tweet talking about how, why is it that black women are always depicted as like therapists or like looking for a man or things like that? Like, we can be crazy too. Why can't we ever be serial killers?
We kill people too.
Yeah, we be killing niggas. And he was like, oh, okay, let me do something with that. So it was a culmination of the two. So I think the reason why he says that he puts that in is, one, just to be a bit like, ooh,
inflammatory.
Yeah, and two, like, because the article was a hoax, but nobody's ever been able to prove or disprove it.
And it also happened. That article is a real thing that happened. So that article, whether the article is fiction or not, the fact that it was in, like, it happened, right?
It's real, yeah. So, like, even the way it was shot, I was telling because I was watching it with my sister yesterday, and I was like, why is it like this? And then when I saw it was
giving
him,
like Atlanta.
Literally, I was like, oh my gosh, it's just like Atlanta. It makes perfect sense. I think him and Jordan Peele, because I'm sure when I finish the season, I'm going to go and look at all the Easter eggs and watch all the theories on it, because I'm sure there's so many hidden things in there that you don't see.
I mean, I'm enjoying it. The only reason I haven't finished that last episode is because I was getting tired, and you know when you can feel yourself falling asleep, but I was like, no, I need to be wide awake for this.
Yeah. But you also have to watch it in doses. Like, I watched 3 episodes yesterday, and I was like, I need to.
No,
like,
but those first few episodes are a bit wild. After that, it's fine.
Okay, because I was
like,
after
that, it's actually a lot more light. I finished it all within a day. I watched all 6 episodes the first day.
Fair enough, because nobody was at home today, and I was like, should I watch while I work? Then I was like,
no, it's fine. Episode 6, episode 7 is very like documentary style, so you will like it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's not so gory. The last few episodes, if you just get through the first like 3 episodes,
yeah, then you can do it. Okay, cool. Now I'll do it. Oh, mate. Thingy was looking, and my sister was like, yeah, I need to watch Snowfall, because if I'm just jumping on this train,
Yeah, welcome to the hive.
And the hip rotation.
Yeah, welcome to the hive.
I literally was like,
we've all been here. I don't know
legs.
why you had to see him giving back shots to get there.
No, because just if you see him on an everyday, he looks like a small boy to me.
I mean, I hear it.
I didn't know he had that body underneath, and he was given like, you know, yeah.
I think it's because he had that accent as well, that American.
Yeah,
it made him more of a like a.
It was given man, and he was handling her, and I was like, okay, Dan, I see you.
So your type is toxic nigga.
Yeah, and also he's just too moist with Laurie. So I definitely like a toxic guy, because why?
Like
why?
How did we even get there?
We were talking about how this documentary is shot, and
it's
given the same
Frederick,
shooting, but it was not good content.
Frederick. It was just it was. Anyway, so Frederick has black hair, brown eyes, and understandably he thinks he's fucked. Like he says to us, he's like, oh, like the jig is up, right? And so he's on his way to the American embassy because they're trying to sort out his papers or whatever to get him to back to America. Because remember, he's gone to a whole nother, not just country, Carrie, but continent, and like sans passport. Strange, but anyway. When he gets to the embassy, he thinks that he's going to jail, so he runs away. Yeah, but they find him.
It's so funny because he's trying to hitchhike, and then he sticks out his thumb, and the people that he hitchhikes to are the people looking for him from the embassy.
Yeah, but was that just a reenactment, or was that like what actually happened?
I don't know. They made it seem like it was what happened, so I'm gonna go with that because it's
storytelling at the end of the day.
It's funny, so yeah.
Maybe they did creative flair, but that would have been very funny. So we learn about Nicholas, and they make a point to say, like, you know, he wasn't some sweet innocent guy. Like he had a bit of vim. Like he ran away a couple of times before, but he always came home. And we find out he had a gap in his teeth, and Frederick happens to have a gap as well. Frederick dyes his hair blonde, and I was just like, okay, cool. Maybe this will fool them for the 2 weeks before your roots grow in. But after that, it's like, what now?
The jig is up.
Like, but you would think there's so many points where you'd say, oh, the jig is up. The jig is never up.
It's never up.
It's actually never up.
And it's a very shit dye job because obviously he hasn't toned, he hasn't done anything.
Nothing.
So it's even orange in some places.
Yeah,
and it's
that
like
brass kind of, yeah. So Nicholas had 3 tattoos, which to me was crazy because I was like, when you
screamed. Wasn't he like 9 or...
No, he wasn't. He was 13.
Even at that.
That's wild, but he wasn't 9,
that.
Is what I'm saying. Yeah, that's crazy. 3 tattoos at 13.
That is wild. Because, okay, even you're saying he was 13, unless you got them all on the same day. He started, like, when he was 11.
So by the age of 13, you had 3 tattoos.
Bro. And, that's actually... This is... Yeah, I mean...
Yeah. But Frederick reads about this in the paper and then gets someone to give him some like prison tattoo. I was like, okay, commit to the bit, I guess. So Carrie goes to get Nicholas from Spain. Remember, Carrie's his sister, who thinks Spain is in America. Frederick is convinced that he's going to be found out. That's not what happens. Carrie is so happy to see him. She says that she recognizes his nose. Like, even to us today, to camera, she's like, oh, I knew that nose anywhere. Like
Uncle Pat. Fuck your Uncle Pat. That was not your brother.
I was like, the Uncle Pat would be like, I don't know who that man is. And she shows him so many photos of like family. Like, oh, do you remember this person? Do you remember this person?
Which
this is this person.
Is
this is
weird,
that person.
Because if your brother, who is meant to have gone through this really traumatic experience, you see him, it's sensory overload to start thrusting pictures into his face. So it was really strange that was the immediate thing she did. Like the first thing you would just want to like talk to him, reconnect.
Yeah, what happened? How are you? Yeah.
Now you're saying, oh, do you remember this person? Do you remember
almost like coaching him. Right. So. Speaking of which, there's a legal side to this, right? Like, we have to make sure that you are who you say you are before granting you entry to these here United States, okay? So the Spanish people are the only people really that had sense in this thing, like, for the most part. Well, okay, at this point they have sense, but we're getting to where they don't, yeah? So the Spanish prosecutor and judge, they're not convinced at all. So they conduct separate interviews between an interview with Frederick / Nicholas and an interview with
Carrie, the sister, right? And they show him 5 pictures of family members, and he gets 4 out of 5 of them right. And he only knows this because of Carrie, who had come with the pictures before to be like, hey, this is Uncle Pat, this is Auntie whatever.
I think they told her that they would do. I think they probably were talking her through the process, and they were like, "Oh yeah, like before we take him, he's going to need to do a picture test just so we're sure it's a formality. Don't worry." Like just telling her so she was at ease,
and also so she would bring pictures.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, so he's now a US citizen because they believe him. But then I don't understand that, because like, say he actually was Nicholas, wouldn't Nicholas already have been a US citizen?
Yeah, but he wouldn't have had his documents. That's the point. So it's a different thing if he was rolling around with his passport, but because he didn't have his documents,
so what, they have to re-citizen?
They needed to provide him with documentation to fly in.
To get him back.
Yes, they need to confirm that it's him. That's
why wouldn't they just bring? Okay, yeah, I suppose, because then he
can't bring his passport because and also I don't think that family even had a passport.
Yeah, it's true.
Don't you remember the girl saying she'd never left the country? There are loads of Americans that don't have passports. You know, like when I found that out, I was like shocked.
It makes so much sense though.
Yeah, because they don't leave, so you just need your ID. So if
like
you
the
have a
world,
passport,
their world is America.
Yeah, and if that's his first passport, then he has to declare that he's American. So I got it.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So we see the footage of Frederick reuniting with Nicholas's mum and family.
No. Sorry, let's rewind, because we see the passport picture. We see the passport picture, guys.
Whew.
He looked
32. I'm sorry.
He looked like a hard 32.
Yeah, like he's been through it.
Not just like, oh, I'm 32. He looked like he'd lived.
And the thing is, he was 23 at the time. So not just, oh, I look 23 and this guy's supposed to be 17. He looked 32, but
hard.
Yeah,
like
as in it's a hard knock life.
Any sun cream, like definitely has used some
no
intravenous drugs, like hard 32.
Yeah,
like he's lived.
Again, this is another barrier where you're like,
that picture alone, I would have been like, something just ain't right.
In the milk ain't clean. I do think though that like a lot of it was like the family saying this is our son, so why would they say that?
Yeah
exactly. So back to the footage of him reuniting with his mum and Nicholas's mum and family, and they can see he's changed a lot because he looks different, but they attribute it to trauma and the things that he's been through. And here I can't lie, he looks like a big man, because he does. So Nicholas would have been 17, Frederick is 23 at this point. Now Frederick's only concern is that the real Nicholas is going to come home and expose him, because obviously if the real Nicholas comes home, he cannot be the real Nicholas. But everyone seems to believe him except for the brother we spoke about earlier, Jason, who is his half brother, Nicholas's half brother. So he was like, Jason wasn't giving him any time of day and was just kind of looking at him like, okay, yeah, good luck, as if to say, I know you're not Nicholas, but do what you're doing, I don't give a heck.
Yeah, which is strange.
But it's strange, but also it's like, okay, for me, the fact that he was like, you're not Nicholas, is like, oh my god, somebody with sense,
yeah.
But then the whole thing of like saying, oh, good luck, it's like,
you want him to succeed, I guess, at whatever it is he's doing.
Yeah, or like at least you're not really concerned
pressed
about where your brother is. You're just like, okay, cool, well, if this is the part you want to play, then play it.
Yeah.
So now we're with an investigator, who, so she interviews Nicholas, right? And it's weird because she's investigating his disappearance, but when he comes back, the family don't say to her, oh hey, he's back, right? Which maybe is a case of like, it's very overwhelming, they're just trying to get things back to normal, like, you know, maybe it's not that big of a deal kind of thing, but it's weird. And it's like, wouldn't you want to find the people that took Nicholas so that they can't take anybody else?
And even beyond that, you think he's been through all this trauma, because he says that he's standoffish. Like Frederick says he's standoffish because he doesn't know how to move around these people, right? The family believes that's a result of trauma. So beyond helping someone else, wouldn't you want the people who did this to your son to pay? And like, even for me, even if I was like, okay, you know what, like bro, like you would call the FBI and be like, what is the best step to help him get to a place where he can talk? Like he's not talking, like is there some professional support we can get? How do we transition? It's weird, they just take him and they're like, whoop, that's it, we good, like, see you later.
Let's get back into a routine.
Yeah, like routine, talking about going to school, dating girls, like, let's be for fucking real.
And so
like,
let's talk about the dating girls thing, because he starts going to school and dating girls and it's like, actually, you're 23.
I didn't even think of that.
And you know that. And you're dating, how old are these girls that you're dating?
16.
And you know that you're 23. Okay. So
it's giving R. Kelly.
So this investigator says what we're thinking about his appearance.
Not that people can't change in 3 years, but this person in general did not appear to be 16. He had a shadow of a beard, a dark beard, that I doubt if Nicholas would have had a shadow of a dark beard at the age of 16 since he had blonde hair.
It just doesn't make sense. And this is the thing, like sometimes like 1 + 1 is actually 2. And 2 + 2 is actually 4.
Yeah.
And 4 + 4 is 8. And it's just like, these things are all true. Like this guy, it doesn't make sense. We know what makes sense.
It isn't sense.
This one is not sense. It's literally nonsense. Yeah. And it's like when they ask him, they ask Frederick what happens to him. And he says he was taken by the military. They used chloroform on him, raped him, tortured him. But it wasn't just him. It was him and loads of other children. And the bit that pissed me off the most, is he was like, they put a solution in his eyes to change his eye colour.
Okay,
and
Tiny.
as an optometrist, I was highly offended. Because I was like, what are you talking about? Do you not see the operation that Tiny went through to get her iris colour changed? You think that if they could do drops, that they would just do...
He said, I am Tiny and she is Zonique.
And she is, I was just like... And the thing is, he was smart about saying the military, because like, how else would he be able to get to another country without a passport?
Yeah.
And the FBI was so concerned. I mean, I get it. Like,
rightfully so, because she was literally like, listen, whatever was going on here, this guy wasn't lying about his abuse, which I think there's some element of truth to it. I definitely think Frederick was abused, even though we never really hear about it. But
I think so, because even like, because I was thinking like either, and even the investigator says that, she's like, oh, either, you know, it happened to him in some degree, or he's an amazing actor. But I think that acting is easier when you can like draw from a past experience. So I think there was a mix of both of them. Like, he's been through some shit, and he was able to draw from that shit that he's been through to like reprise this role as whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's sad. It's really sad, but also it's like, okay. The media gets a hold of things, and this guy, Nicholas, is doing interviews. I don't know what it is. Like, you know when they say clout is one hell of a drug? Like, it really is.
He waffles about how he did interviews because he wanted to make Nicholas seem real. But it's like, actually, it's quite the opposite. Like, I think he just wanted clout.
Yeah, 100%. And so this guy, I don't know if you've mentioned it, he speaks with a French accent, right?
Is that French?
Yeah, he speaks with a French accent.
Okay.
So to explain his accent, he says that he was forced by his abductors to not speak English, right? And so we meet this guy called Charlie. I think, is he a reporter?
I don't know what he is.
One thing he is keen, okay? And so he realizes that Frederick is an imposter because of his ears, and take a shot every time he says ears. This guy is adamant about the ears. He's not wrong.
I'm sure he's got an ear kink.
Maybe, because he said ears.
And I didn't even know that ears were like a thing. Like,
but it kind of makes sense, because you know, you got the grooves in the ear, like not the grooves, but you know what I mean? Like, it's a shape, like where you get the piercings and stuff.
I mean, I get it. Like, I get that it's a thing, but I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know
like,
ears was such
so
a
prominent of a thing.
Identifier. Yeah. Weirdly, my mum has a thing with hands, which I think is so cool. Like, if you cover a picture and you just show her the hands, she can tell you exactly who it is.
Is it?
Yeah, it's so crazy. As long as she's seen your hands like a few times.
Hands?
I don't know how she does it. She does it every time.
Palm reader?
I don't know how she does it.
Maybe she was in another life.
Literally, there was this picture of like her and a cousin, but the cousin's face was like blurred out because the picture was old. And then I was like, tell mummy, like, who is this? Like, is this uncle? And she was like, no, it's this uncle. And I was like, how do you know? And she was like, I can tell by his hands. It's so weird.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So the investigator is like hesitant to believe Charlie, the reporter, because again, it's kind of like, why would the family claim him?
Yeah. If
they know and it's so obvious that it's not him, why would they say, hey, this is our son, knowing that would halt any investigation on looking for their actual son? Yeah, these are important questions. Okay. Charlie, however, thinks that he's a spy. Charlie thinks that Frederick
Charlie
has been sent.
An overinflated view.
Do you know? Maybe he's a writer
himself.
because that's and also an overactive imagination.
Yeah.
So Charlie thinks he's a spy. He's been sent from some government agency to infiltrate this family in San Antonio, Texas. Like, no offense to Texas, I'm not saying Texas isn't good or whatever, but I'm just saying that, like, if I were a spy sent to America,
I'm gonna be hitting up.
why would they send me to San Antonio, Texas? Or
I've
maybe
been to
they
San
would
Antonio.
because you wouldn't think that they sent you there.
I've been to San Antonio.
To do what?
We went to Texas, Houston. It was at Christmas. I don't know if you remember. I went to Houston with my family.
What ages ago though?
I think it was 2018 Christmas.
Yeah, I remember. That was ages ago. That's when you.
Was that ages
Did
ago?
you go to somewhere else in America that trip?
Fucking hell. No. You're thinking of when we went on the first cruise.
Yeah.
Because we went to Miami, then Houston, then This time we went for the Christmas, and we came back. We flew back on New Year's, and it was funny because we went to San Antonio, we went to Austin, but then I got confused, so I kept calling San Antonio San Austin, and everybody in the car was looking at me like, "Are you stupid or are you dumb?"
And I'm here cussing Carrie. Meanwhile, I have a Carrie in my midst.
But funnily enough, as we were doing the drive, we drove from Houston to San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
We accidentally took the wrong thing, and we landed, I think I've told you this, in some podunk town, yeah, and like all of us were sweating, and my auntie was like, whatever happens, don't come out of the car, because my dad had to park.
What was it, like KKK vibes?
Bro, I'm telling you, serious KKK, but you wouldn't believe, you think these places only exist in movies, but it was giving KKK meets
like
Texas
hostile.
Chainsaw. Bro, like, you just know there was not a nigger for like a
and
good...
you actually can't hide it, like you're actually black, like you stand out like a sore thumb.
my auntie was like, please don't, everybody should just be quiet, don't come out of the car. I've never seen my dad quickly find where we were meant to be going so quickly. It was scary, but yeah.
Matting.
Yeah.
So Frederick is taken for further interviews, and he sees the specialist, Dr. Perry, and we get more
He looks older than Dr. Perry.
I'm not even convinced that the 23 is his real age.
Right.
That's just what he told us. So we get more into his accent.
He couldn't speak English without an accent. That told me about the development of his brain and the development of language. You just cannot be raised for the first 6-7 years of your life in an English-speaking home. And later on, 8-9 years later, even 10 years later, not be able to speak English without an accent. I can guarantee you that this kid was not raised in an English-speaking family.
Which is what I thought. Like, clearly English is his second language. Clearly, because his accent is, because he says some scientific thing, yeah, but like his accent is not like, if I was learning Spanish, yeah, I might speak Spanish with an English accent, right? But if I'm speaking Spanish and I it's my native language, I'm speaking it with a Spanish accent. And he's speaking English with a French accent. It's not as if, like, I don't know, but he sounds French.
I agree. He sounds off. He doesn't sound to me like he's ever lived in an English. Yeah.
There's no twang. There's no southern drawl.
It's kind of like all of us here, because we're all second gen immigrants, right? We all have like, and I think we all have a Nigerian twang to like when we talk. But then if we go outside, because English is our first language, the way we talk is normal. It's when you're at home, then you have that little twang to you because you're interacting with more Nigerians. But the Nigerians who, like my mum, her accent is Nigerian.
Yeah, the English is the twang.
Yeah, the English is the twang, right? So she's gonna kill me for that one. So it's like with this guy, like he speaks perfect English. Like, it doesn't sound like, oh, this guy can't speak English, but he has an accent because the English is the twang. Like, this is what I just didn't understand, how people, because he wasn't a kid. Like, obviously if you're a kid, like 1 or 2 when you get abducted, fine, but you were 13
because you're acquiring language, and as you acquire the language, wherever you're around, that's what you would acquire.
And
right?
do you know why this guy's so fucking stupid? Yeah, if I were him, I would have just said, like, when I got to America, like, the P was for pressure, I would have been like, oh, I was abducted. They told me to say, like, they forced all of us to adopt certain identities. This was the identity I was given. And then you're still a victim. Why did he...
But then he still has to find...
I guess they'll still want to find out who he is.
And also, in doing this, he just got lucky because this could have ended, and he never even would have left Spain.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I'm telling you, at every door, at every barrier, it was just open.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, it's open. Then he gets to the next one. Oh, it's open.
Like when you're traveling and the barriers are open at one station, you get to the other station open and you're
like, well, why would I pay? So the investigator tells Carrie that Frederick isn't Nicholas. And then she also tells Carrie, don't come to the airport. I'm going to take care of everything. You guys stay safe, yeah? She gets to the airport, yeah. Lo and behold, Carrie is there, arms open wide.
This is when shit gets fucking weird in this documentary.
Weird. And she's acting like they didn't even have that conversation.
And I just wish this documentary had been a bit more condensed in the beginning and then focused a little bit more on the last 20 minutes, because this is for me when things get juicy. All of that faff about how we got from Spain to America was faff. I think that's because they need to do another documentary. I think that's because this wasn't a documentary about what happened to Nicholas. This was a documentary about the imposter. I understand, but even that imposterism, I feel like they could have explored it more from this element, because this is where you see the depth of
this. 100%, I agree, and that would have been a better documentary. But I feel like that more ties into the question: what happened to Nicholas?
I guess,
and that's not what they were investigating.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know, because I was even thinking to myself, why did the family agree to be in this documentary? Like,
because they look 10 different types of bad.
Right. Carrie goes to the airport, right? And she's saying, like, today to the camera, she doesn't remember the investigator ever saying not to come. And this is where, like Foren said, it just gets weird, because the family's recollection is diametrically opposed, to what our investigator is saying. Like, there's one bit where the investigator's like, she tells the mum, do you know what, let's just do a DNA test just to prove to you that Frederick isn't Nicholas. And the investigator says,
Mrs. Dollarhide said, this is my son. I don't have to provide blood samples for you for DNA. And she lay down on the floor, literally lay down on the floor, and said, no, and you can't pick me up and you can't make me.
I did not want to go anywhere with the FBI, but I don't remember refusing.
She lay on the floor and refused. Let his mum tell it, she never refused. And I was like,
and it's such a big,
those two things, it's not as if it's even close. Like, it either happened or it didn't happen.
And I'm inclined to believe the investigator, because she has no stake in the, like, she has no horse in the race. Like,
why would I lie?
Because even the thing is, even if you don't remember her telling,
it's such a weird response that you wouldn't forget that happened.
Yeah, and even if you don't remember her telling you not to come, you at least remember her saying, "Bro, like, this isn't your brother." Like, even if she said it's likely not to be your brother, is that not enough for you to question? Like, I even thought she was going to be there to confront him. Lo and behold, she's there to hug him up and say, let's go home. And
he doesn't even look like him. The thing is, because like, for some point of the documentary, I was kind of like, you know, maybe there's just a certain desperation that we unfortunately would never experience, because you lost a loved one in your life. And even at this point, I was still wanting them to be him.
Yeah, even at the airport, I was thinking that was it. I was thinking they discussed at the family and felt like, nah, it has to be him.
Let's just see.
But when the mum refused,
acting like nothing happened.
Yeah, and when
the mum refusing the DNA test,
that's when I was like, oh, yo niggas are.
Because then it's like, actually, yeah, let's do a DNA test and let's prove to you this is my son.
Yeah.
Even though he isn't.
Because the thing is, as much as you want it to be your son, the more you hold on to this guy, the less the investigation into your son's disappearance is happening.
Which works in two ways. Either it's like, okay, so like, you know, this must be their son, because why would they jeopardize the investigation? Or it's like, so you really know that Nicholas ain't coming back.
Exactly.
Right?
You must.
I'm with the latter.
You must have, yeah.
Okay, so Carrie even says like, oh, we knew who he was, so we didn't have to prove who he was. And it's suspicious, because what you hide, even Frederick is like,
Frederick is like,
yeah, Frederick is like,
qu'est-ce que c'est, s'il vous plaît, like, what the fuck is going on?
He literally is like,
and he even says, he says, the lie they are telling is bigger than the one I told. He said the ogre of all lies is going on here. Fuck my lie. Like, these niggas is really lying. Like, those who have lied before have not lied. Like, these people are lying.
I'm like, Frederick is like, I'm no longer worried about Nicholas coming home, because these niggas have done some shit.
These niggas is lying. And it's so true. Like, you start to panic. You're saying, hold on, I thought I was the con artist.
I thought I was the mad one.
But these people are scary.
You're madder than me.
Huh.
Yeah.
He said the baguette is not baguetting.
It's not
like,
baguetting.
The
It's
croissant
not baguetting.
does not have butter. Like,
it's not flaky.
it's
no
not
lamination.
flaky. Like...
Nah, even when Frederick was like, yeah, nah. I was thinking, you're mad, yeah, but you're sane enough to realize that their madness is bigger than your madness.
Okay, do you know the level of self-awareness you have to have?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm inclined to believe Frederick. Honestly, and
I hate to say it, but we get more into the brother Jason, yeah. So one of Nicholas's friends describes him as
actually Freddy versus Jason. It's just deep. It really is. It fucking is.
Oh my god, it really is.
It's Freddy versus Jason.
These jokes, they write themselves.
They write them fucking selves.
Jason is described as a bum, a drug addict, and someone who only cared about himself. Our reporter Charlie tells us that after Nicholas had gone missing, Jason made a report, like a police report, saying that Nicholas tried to break into the house. And Charlie's like, people do this all the time to make it seem like someone that they've killed is alive, right? Because there's like a documentation that this person was alive doing whatever action.
And it just doesn't fucking make sense, because
it doesn't make any sense.
If Nicholas was alive, wouldn't you like be like, bro, like chill, like everyone's been looking for you, where you at? Like,
yeah, why would he have to break into the house? Would he not just like knock on the door and be like, hey, I'm back?
Literally.
And then why would you report it?
Okay.
So weird. So yeah, Frederick is like, yeah, they killed Nicholas, yeah. He was like, some of them did it, some of them know about it, some are trying to ignore it, but they killed him, he's dead.
Yeah, and the mum is of questionable morals as well, because basically we learned that her and Nicholas used to be really, really cool. And then when Jason moved in, because like he was a druggie, selling drugs, this and that, like the whole environment became volatile.
Yeah,
and then she used to start, and then he pushed her into taking drugs as well.
Yeah, so now she was on drugs too, yeah.
So now everything is just a bit like, what the fuck is going on in this household?
It's almost like she can't really trust her recollection of things back then. I don't know if it's that trauma, or she killed him, or she was on drugs. I don't know what it is. It's a bit or everything, honestly. But yeah, it like, she's not a reliable storyteller. She's not a reliable narrator. Like it's like she's here, but like even if she wasn't, I don't think anything would have changed.
And I think part of her knowing what happened is why she didn't want to go to Spain to pick him up.
Yeah. So the FBI are like, okay, since you don't want to do DNA samples, we're just gonna get a warrant, because we can do that, right? So you just prolonged your ending. So they get a warrant to get the blood samples. Frederick is getting more and more agitated, and so like they think he's gonna run away. So Charlie takes it upon himself to start following him. Again, I don't remember what Charlie's role was, but I don't think he was an agent of any sort. Like
he was just a PI.
Like, yeah,
the only reason he was put in, like he was introduced to Frederick, is because some news station wanted a interview with him. That's why he even he's in this, and now he can't let it go. And it just shows me that you don't have a lot of work. Yeah, shit must be dry. Because if you were busy, you wouldn't be doing all of this. But PIs are usually retired police officers. So now he needs to retire from the retirement job, because it's given get a life.
But yeah, following him, like, I know you're a PI, but is that not like harassment / stalking?
Literally, and nobody asked you to be on this case. So what are you doing?
Of your own volition. So Frederick is backed in the corner. He meets up with Charlie and admits he's not Nicholas. Fine. The FBI get confirmation of Frederick's identity. Frederick is Frederick Bourdon, and he is wanted by Interpol. He's 23, so they say. I think this is a typo, and he's actually 32, because he does not look 23. A hard 32. He's French, and he has a bunch of aliases.
Frederick Beard, Spain, 1992.
Benjamin Dianasan, Spain, September 1993. Shelter from
Jimmy Peter Manfred, Luxembourg, 1992.
Ernie Wright, Barcelona. He stated that he had run away from his adoptive parents' house.
Thomas Wilson, Brussels, 95.
He was interned in Fernandez, Pyrenees.
Alex Ross, Milan, 1993.
Making false statements. Benjamin Kent, Glasgow.
Arnaud Orianes.
Deportation order was issued against him.
Mark Sullivan.
He always wore glasses. Giovanni Petrulo.
Michelangelo Martini.
Alex Doe.
Donovan McNeff.
Thomas Wilson.
Peter Sampson.
William Thomas.
Jimmy Sally.
93.
Peter Robbins.
92.
James Markey.
94.
Frederick Cassis, Jonathan Doran, Francisco Hernandez Fernandez, Edgar Gutierrez. Out of Spain,
Tried
1997.
mutilation. It's possible he may need psychiatric help.
As in, like, it goes on for so long.
Many.
He has so many.
Different continental names.
So many. So he gets arrested inevitably, and then also while he's there, he's like, "Look, you're looking at me. These times they killed Nicholas." So he points the finger at the family.
He says that the mum confessed that her and Jason killed Nicholas and hid the body, and I believe him.
Yeah,
I know he's a dirty liar, but I actually believe him because that mum just seems really agitated and unstable even to this day, right?
I don't know why they did this documentary. You know,
I don't know why they look bad doing this documentary.
Maybe it would have been worse if they didn't.
And also, did you notice that there wasn't that much emotion talking about Nicholas? I didn't think so. Maybe I was looking in hindsight.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't always think that.
No, I know people react to things differently.
Way to react, to something.
Yeah,
especially like I don't know. She just.
I think she would have told him. Like, I think she would have told him.
I don't think she would have sat down and be like, "I have something to tell you." He probably slipped out at some point. She doesn't remember telling him.
I think she got agitated when everybody knew the jig was up, and she was basically saying it to him like, "Listen, it's a good deal.
Just stay.
You stay. You know, you get whatever it is you want from this situation, and we don't have the police sniffing around us about this missing kid."
Yeah, but it's bigger than you. It's not just you saying, "No, it's okay, close the case." Actually, the government are going to do what the government want to do.
Exactly.
So,
which is
so sorry about it.
Stupid.
So dumb. So Charlie, the reporter, is convinced that this is the case, and so he goes to the house that they lived in at the time, and speaks to the new owner and asks if he can dig in the backyard. I'm sorry, someone comes to my home.
It's just a stranger coming to your home telling you that.
A random guy.
Do you know
can I dig? I think a body's buried here. I would say piss off and never return. But this guy was loving it as well, mate. We'll get into that later. So the mum takes a lie detector test. This bit was weird. So she passes the lie detector test first time. Investigator's like, nah, do it again. She passes it again. Yeah. Investigator's like, nah, do it again. And then she fails. And I'm like, even if we're doing best 2 out of 3, like, she still passed.
Yeah, and they hold on to the fact that she fails, but she passed.
But she passed twice before. And I thought that the last time, I thought that there was going to be a difference in the situation. Like, oh, she was doing something differently, or oh, she was cheating, or oh, it was revealed that she.
There was
but nothing.
But then she fails, and then she screams and runs out. And the visuals are killing me.
No, but the thing is that, like, I get it. You're fam. I've done this thing. Like, leave me alone. And we don't know if they told her that she passed.
Yeah.
At those times. Do you get what I mean? Like, straight after.
Lie detector results are unreliable.
I mean, it does. And the thing is that, like, had she failed the first time, they wouldn't have made her do it again. So it's not as if you're trying to do like best 2 of 3.
Whatever it is, if I was ever given a lie detector test in a police environment, I would fail woefully.
I think I would
even
fail.
If they asked me, do you know what happened to Madeleine or John Benet Ramsey? I wasn't even born when that babe died.
Yeah.
I would fail because, personally, for me, anything to do with law, prison, police scares me. So I would be nervous already because why am I in it?
Yeah, and just that power dynamic. They know something, I don't know. They think something, they have the power, I don't have it. Like,
you're gonna be nervous.
You're freaking out. So yeah, I don't really take them seriously.
But nonetheless, I still think she at least knows what happened to herself.
Yeah, 100%. But I don't think that this was the way to go about finding out. Like, because like I said, if she'd failed the first one, they would have just called it a day and be like, you failed. So it's not as if it's like, let's do the average of 3 for fair and accurate testing.
Yeah.
So that pissed me off. The investigator tells us how she spoke with Jason, who seems pretty apathetic, and then they say he died from a drug overdose, so he's not here to defend himself.
It wasn't like that. She spoke to him. He was apathetic. Then he checks himself out of the rehabilitation center he's in and dies from an overdose. Like, bro,
so you
like,
think that he ended it?
Just put guilty on his tombstone. Like, what do you mean? Like, what is this sequence? It's just like the mum taking the lie detector test and running out screaming. This sequence of events, what does it mean? How can they call you? They ask you questions. You don't seem to be bothered. And even the investigator was like, it all links in because when he knew from the beginning that Frederick wasn't Nicholas, and he never even raised an alarm. You never even pulled your mum and sister to the side and said, hey, like, I'm not sure this guy is who you lot think it is. Do with that information as you just didn't care. Then you immediately check yourself out of the rehabilitation center and go and OD. Come on. He probably thought the jig was up, because really, if the jig was ever going to be up, it would have been now. This should have led to
this is the closest that.
Yeah.
And it's also like, let me get out of it before I have to endure this actual investigation, because there's two parts. There's one is just proving that he's not Nicholas, and then 2 goes into
the murder,
where is Nicholas,
yeah,
and why were you so eager to accept this person who clearly isn't Nicholas to be Nicholas. Yeah. So they closed the investigation into Nicholas's disappearance due to a lack of evidence. Frederick is convicted of perjury and fraudulently obtaining a passport, and he gets 6 years in jail, right? So now we're here. He's deported to France in 2003. 3 months later, he attempts to steal the identity of a missing 14-year-old. Please, let's go back. He was 23. He claims he was 23 when this happened. He's been in jail for 6 years. Yeah.
So 6 years in prison is 15 years in normal life, because prison is going to do that to you.
Because it's hard. You already look 32. Yeah. So now you're what, 47? You look 47, yeah? By our calculations, you look 47, yeah? And you're pretending to be a 14-year-old. There's delusions of grandeur, yeah? Literally, delusions by Jink Monsoon, because you, yeah, as a 47-year-old looking man, you think that you can pass for a 14-year-old?
My friend.
No, because let's be serious. Let's be frank. Let's be
has no
Lampard.
butter and it is not flaking. Let's be fucking real.
Like, he's a big weirdo. Like, I was waiting for him at some point to just be like, "It's me. Hi, I'm the problem.
It's me."
Yeah.
Even from prison, like, he's calling other families, telling them that he can help with cases that he knows fuck all about. I don't, like, he has some sort of like personality disorder, but I don't know what it is, because at first I was like, is he a psychopath? But I'm not sure if that's what it is. I don't know
which one it is. Maybe it's a combination of things.
But he did say in the end that he doesn't care about how people feel. He just cares about himself.
Yeah, I mean, but it seems like he's only had himself. There's a bit earlier where they talk about, like, his mum was a single mom. She was 17 when she had him, and his dad is Algerian, and his granddad was really racist, so he wanted him to be aborted. So I don't know, but there's everyone has their issues and their problems.
We all have our villain origin story.
Everyone has their issues and their problems, but this one, the result of said issues and problems was
it doesn't match the issue and problem.
I know, we don't know all the issues and problems, but there's no matching. There's no matching. So he now lives in France and has a wife and 3 children.
And kids. Yeah. And he's an actor. Like, if you wiki him, what he's listed.
Yeah, it said actor, but I don't know if they're just saying that they're giving that this credit because he was in this documentary. Because what else has he done? What's on his IMDb?
I don't know. I never checked. Maybe it's all the impersonations. That's acting too. Shit.
Give that man an Oscar.
As in.
Speaking of Oscar, now it's time for.
No, it's not.
Wait. Sorry.
Because
I missed
the documentary ends.
So the documentary ends with Charlie the reporter, yeah? And this new homeowner guy digging in the garden. As in, when I say digging, this man, the new owner of the house, he's a tall guy.
The one digging.
He's
and
over
Charlie's
6
just
foot.
standing there.
Yeah, but he's over 6 foot and he's in the
grave.
And we can, as in, he dug. Charlie is just there doing project manager. Yeah, this guy.
Well, you're the one whose project is. This reminds me of when we were
in
primary school and we used to all dig. I think everybody lived the same, because I saw someone on TikTok talking about this, and I know she didn't go to my primary school. We all used to dig to Egypt. Like, we all used to imagine, like, we'd get our sticks in primary school and we dig,
and then dig into the
whole thinking, and every day we dig more and be like, oh, eventually, and we literally had a plan of, like, the night we were all gonna sneak out from our houses, go like come to the primary school and take this tunnel to Egypt. This reminds me of that. You're digging to nowhere
and for nothing. And it's like, now he's just like, because just imagine you're at home, cup of tea, watching whatever, the Corrie, yeah, and then someone knocks on your door and says, hey, I think there's a dead body in your backyard, help me to dig it.
The fuck off.
First of all, I would never open my door, but if I had, I'm not digging for you just while you sit there. And obviously they find nothing.
Ciao.
Shady. It's so funny because, like, in the documentary it just ends with that scene. Like, they don't even say anything. You just see the scene of them of him digging and nothing being found, and then that's it.
Good. Let's all rest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to speculate, but Simon and Milk ain't clean, and that family did something because it doesn't make sense. Because why would you be so happy to at some point, yeah? And the thing is, even if you were grieving and you really wanted to believe it was him, from when someone says, listen, let's just prove that this is the guy, then we can leave you all alone. You can rebuild your family. You don't want to do that.
Nah,
when we're telling you this is not your son, you don't want to accept that.
100%.
Why?
They did something to that boy. 100%.
Yeah.
I don't have a shadow of a doubt.
100%. Because where is he? But yeah, now it's time for
The real crime, I think, was the beard.
our segment where we focus on something during the documentary that may not be criminal, but we definitely consider to be a crime. I'm going to go first. The real crime, I think, Carrie's ignorance, because there's one time when they're in Spain and she's like, we stopped for Coca-Cola. I think it's really cool that they had Coke there. In Spain.
Yeah, but
do you think that Coca-Cola only serves Texas?
I heard her say that, but...
Is that what you think? And then I had another one. The real crime, I think, was there were these clips of Frederick like dancing.
Oh yeah, at the end.
I was like, what?
He was giving Michael Jackson tribute.
Thriller.
Dance.
I was like, Smooth Criminal.
And
maybe
to be honest, he looked a bit like MJ when he was doing the interview. He had the hat. And one shoulder padded jacket.
Yeah.
I said that's the next impersonation. Next thing he'll come to Neverland and say he's Michael Jackson. Michael never
he'll
died.
say I've been alive all along. Nah.
I also had two. One was the passport picture, guys. The thing is that Netflix doesn't allow you.
You have to take a picture on your phone because they hate us. Yeah, you can't even screenshot it.
So I have to find a way to do it.
Or maybe search on Google. It should be on Google.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna try and find it on Google. If not, I'll take a picture of my phone screen.
Yeah, and then
because we have to show you that picture because it was scary.
Yeah.
And then the second one was when Frederick woke up the first morning in America and he thought that he was coming to the land of the free and the rich.
Yes.
He said he opened his curtains, and he was like, "What the fuck is this?"
What is this?
He was in the depth of Podunk, and I was like,
he said,
good.
Not a skyscraper in sight.
He said, not a skyscraper, not a bank, not one thing.
Listen, beggars can't be choosers.
Okay, that was funny to me because he said, "Right, I should have stayed where I was."
That made me laugh. How are you regretting a situation you put yourself in? Now you're saying, damn, I should have picked the kid from New York.
I was better off as Frederick in Spain.
Or whoever he was back then.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for rocking with us. Honestly, we've had so much support and stuff recently and new listeners, and we're just really grateful that you guys are here. Be sure to leave a comment. You can do that on any of our social media platforms. You can do that on Spotify. And you know where to find us everywhere. 2 Girls 1 Doc. On TikTok, it's 2 Girls 1 Doc podcast. And we should be back next week doing the Vinted documentary, like we said. I'll put the trailer at the end again, just in case you forgot. But yeah, thanks again for listening, and we'll be back next week.
I've been buying so many amazing pieces from Vinted. I've got a couple of Vinted parcels to open.
Vinted is changing the way we shop.
Gone are the days of tramping around a car boot sale and looking at a ratty fur coat in the back of a van. The way that we perceive second-hand goods, Vinted has played a key part in making it sexy for the new generation.
On Vinted, you can make extra money by selling clothes you don't need.
And this glossy advertising has worked. An estimated 65 million people use the app in over 20 countries, hunting for second-hand bargains.
If you're not on Vinted yet, you need to get on there.
Clothes, kids' toys, and even luxury handbags.
Prince Charming costume.
Oh my god, so cute.
It can be great, it can be terrible. It is like the wild, wild west.
But how much can we really trust Vinted's second-hand bargains?
Some of these items have been recalled because they're fire hazards, choking hazards. Potentially your baby's nose is covered, and that might be sudden infant death.
We've uncovered evidence women on Vinted are being targeted.
This is actually disgusting. To have my body on there, my face, it just makes you feel really vulnerable.
Is Vinted really doing enough to protect its customers?
It horrifies me.
It's quite shocking when someone threatens you with a gun.